Hello, my friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is David, and today we're going to have a book haul. It was not really planned to have a book haul today, but I figure I've got enough bookish things that have arrived recently that there's no time like the present to talk about it. So instead of doing a review for my recent finished book, The Collapsing Empire by John Scalzi, or one of the other myriad of others that I've recently finished, such as The Illustrated Man by Ray Bradbury. Both very excellent reads, both 5-star reads. I might try to knock both of those out in the same video, even though they aren't really connected, just because I'm running out of time to make all the videos I want to make. But I wanted to do a book haul with you, so I'm going to start with what I got over the weekend. Went to the library, check out a couple of books, including my current read, Velocity Weapon by Megan O'Keefe. So checked out a couple of books to carry me through my buddy reads that I had planned for Space Opera September. Now that we're into week 3 of that, I'm enjoying Velocity Weapon a lot. But I checked their book sale section, as I usually do, because they have paperbacks at $0.25. And so I couldn't pass up some of these paperbacks. The first being George R.R. Martin, A Feast for Crows. I've read all 5 of the Song of Fire and Ice books. Used to own them in a really funky little leather-bound, pocket-sized editions. No longer have those. My thoughtful, loving wife got them for me, and then when she realized that the series wasn't complete yet and that it would be unlikely that the rest of them would be matching that, she wasn't as excited by her choice of gift. And eventually I downsized my book collection, so those were one of many books that went away, and so I needed to regain them. I mean, the spine hasn't even cracked on this. This is practically new for a quarter, so I've got my first Martin book back onto my shelf. I'm happy to have it. Don't know how soon I'll be doing a reread. If book 6 ever gets a release date, a firm release date, I will probably pick them up and try to reread them ahead of that. Next, we have Starship Troopers by Robert A. Heinlein. I know that this is a genre classic, that his work is very, very important in the history of science fiction and its development. I think I've read at least some of this many, many, many years ago. Not sure if I've ever finished it, so this is on my horizon. Let's see, page count. It's a little over 250, so it probably won't work for New Worlds November, because I think it was supposed to be 250 and under, and this is about 260. Shame. And I still read it for that anyway. And then one that brought back a little nostalgia. Growing up, I was very, very big into the original Star Wars trilogy. And so I had a couple of Star Wars books, one of them being Shadows of the Empire. I really remember enjoying this one a lot. Most of my recent reads of Star Wars fiction, both old and new, have been highly disappointing. Heir to the Empire, I read that a couple months ago, knowing that it's a very, very highly regarded, and where Thrawn makes his appearance in the first book just didn't catch me. It made it so I didn't want to read the next ones. So we'll see if this one holds up. If not, I mean, I spent $0.25 on it. Then I had a package show up today that I picked up on eBay a couple weeks ago. It took forever to get here, but I paid, I think, $1 plus shipping for the 5 of these. And some of you will be excited about these. These are science fiction analog issues. So these are from the 1970s. I've got January of 73, March of 73, September of 74, October of 75, and June of 1976. So we've got 5 issues of science fiction analog. So I'm excited I mean, look at that deal. The very best reading in or out of this world, 4 for 10 cents with membership. Sign me up. I can find that. So, Foundation Trilogy. Ooh, there we go. Hugo winners, Volume 1 and 2. Death World Trilogy by Harry Harrison. For the Golden Age by Isaac Asimov. 25 classic stories from the 1930s. Land That Time Forgot by Edgar Rice Burroughs. I mean, there's some good books that you could have gotten for 4 of them for 10 cents. Moat in God's Eye by Larry Niven. So I'm excited to kind of flip through these to get the nostalgic feel of what all of these had. You can just see what jumps out. So there's this one here. It has a short story from Joe Haldeman, who wrote The Forever War. So that's really good. So it looks like 170, 180 pages. So I've got some good reading of some short fiction for science fiction. I'll be doing at least one of these for sure in Sci-Fi New Worlds November. So it looks like these were 60 cents in 73, then they went up to 75 cents in 74, and then they were $1 come 1975. And I would gladly pay $1 for these today. I'd be tickled to get something like this for $1. I bet you would too. But the real star of the show today, we had appointments to go to meetings for our daughter. And so I went ahead and took the afternoon off in addition, with the sole purpose of going out to Paige Turners Bookstore. So if you remember, I recently went indie book shopping and got this indie bookshop roadmap. And so I noticed that one of them, Paige Turners, is relatively close to me, about half an hour. So I tried going there a couple weeks ago on a Sunday. They're closed on Sundays. Their hours were pretty much during working hours during the week and very limited hours on some Saturdays. So I took the afternoon to go and drive out there and check them out, and I'm glad I did. Unlike the 2 bookstores that I went to over in Nebraska, where I wasn't really drawn to anything. And part of that was because I didn't really want to buy anything at full price. I was hoping to find a Brattle bookshop type of deal, because Steve Donahue just fills our airwaves with all these great deals that he can get at the Brattle, and the Brattle will provide. So I wanted to find something like that. And I think I found a couple of those. And I also bought a couple at full price because I was able to. I went in with the intent of I'm going to buy at least one book brand new. And I think I got 3. And a couple of other used ones because they sold both used and new and had some clearance books. And I got something out of each of those 3 types of things. So I'm excited to show them to you. So there's a nice bookmark. Michael from Fit to Be Read needs bookmarks. So while I was in there, I saw this Stay Curious Remnant Stew podcast. Don't know anything about the podcast, but this is a nice sci-fi bookmark. I'm going to be sending it off to him. Picked up one for myself as well. I hope they don't mind that I took 2 bookmarks. But they had tons and tons of bookmarks just littered throughout. And that one, when I saw it, just sparked me as I wanted to have that to send off to him so that you could have a bookmark. So the first one I'm going to show you is the biggest book that was in there in terms of size. And this was in their used section. This is Shadow Moon by George Lucas and Chris Claremont. And so it says, from 2 of the greatest imaginations of our time, Shadow Moon. And I would agree, you probably recognize George Lucas for sure, Star Wars, among many other things. But Chris Claremont, he is best known for his work on X-Men. It says, Best known for his 17-year stint on Marvel Comics' The Uncanny X-Men. So when I saw the pairing of those two names, and an obviously fantasy book, I didn't need to know anything else. I didn't even read the synopsis. Let's read it. Let's find out what this is about. From the fertile minds of George Lucas, creator of Star Wars, and Chris Claremont, author of the classic X-Men adventures, the best-selling series in comic book history, comes a magnificent chronicle worthy of two modern legends of fantasy. 13 years have passed since the epic Battle of Nockmaar, where a wayward band of heroes brought together by circumstance broke the hold of evil on the land. But the triumph was short-lived. Within a year, the land was plunged into an unrelenting storm of war and chaos, lashed by ancient rivalries and unforgiving hatreds in the realms of both flesh and spirit. According to prophecy, there is only one hope for true and lasting peace: the Princess Elora Danan, who will be invested with rank and authority on her birthday. In preparation for this joyous event, a young scout seeks Elora's godfather and protector, the fabled Nelwyn sorcerer, missing and long believed dead after the cataclysmic war. Instead, he finds Thorn, an itinerant wanderer whose fate is strangely bound to Elora's. Together, they discover that the girl for whom the brave souls fought and died has become little more than a spoiled brat who makes the lives of all around her miserable. Seemingly, she is no match for the forces of unimaginable malevolence that are marshalling against her. Who is behind the plot to turn Elora into a mere puppet queen? What sinister purpose do the relentless dark-helmed Thunder Riders and their mysterious warlords serve? Who is the demon that haunts the very walls of the palace? And perhaps most intriguing of all, why has the fate of the great realms been put into the hands of such a shallow and willful monster as Elora? To answer these questions and escape from the castle's labyrinthine dungeon, Thorn will have to strike a devil's bargain. He must perform a dangerous and forbidden rite of necromancy to resurrect a powerful warrior from her soulless sleep and to try to rescue a child. But even if he succeeds, they are alone in a world of blood and horror, where shadows have declared war on the light, where old loyalties have been cast aside and trust means nothing. The world is tumbling toward the abyss. Only one person can save it, and she couldn't care less. I don't know about you, but I'm intrigued. I want to read it. So now I know that I spent $4 very well on that nice hardcover book. So one of the brand new books that I purchased is The Consuming Fire by John Scalzi. This is book 2 of the Interdependency War. Yeah, the Interdependency. I just finished The Collapsing Empire. I should tell you exactly what I feel about that. I picked up book 2 while I was there because I saw it. They didn't have book 3, otherwise I probably would have gotten 2 and 3. They did have book 1 in a matching volume. I decided not to pick it up yet. I may go back in the next couple weeks to see if it's still there to get it, just because it was a matching volume. But yeah, I really enjoyed the first book, and I'm planning to read the second book no later than next month. I'm going to try to get it in this month. All right, so another used book in their section. I Am Legend by Richard Matheson. This has been discussed recently on channels such as Michael K. Vaughan. So since I saw a relatively good copy of a older version of I Am Legend, I think it's just this book, so it doesn't have any other, well, maybe. Yeah, so it's just the Omega Man, I Am Legend. So if you haven't read it, I have it on good authority that it's great. I know that I have read it before. It's been a long time. I remember enjoying it tremendously. So I'm excited to reread it and see how it holds up. So they had some clearance books. And this is one of the clearance books. I got this for 59 cents. Take that, Brattle. Granted, their selection was not that big. But I did find a couple of good ones in their clearance section, including Second Foundation by Isaac Asimov. I do have the original Foundation. I've actually got 2 copies of it. I'll be getting rid of one of them soon because I don't need 2 of it. But Second Foundation, Isaac Asimov. I'm excited to be able to reread Foundation. And also for 59 cents, Foundation and Empire. Both of these look like they are pretty close to pristine condition, like they were owned, sat on a shelf, but never read. I couldn't pass that up. And let's see, where was my other clearance book, also for 59 cents. Bernard Cornwell, The Archer's Tale. So this is book 1 in the Grail series, I believe. Yeah, the Grail Quest series. Now, if the Winter King taught me anything, it's that Bernard Cornwell writes good stories even beyond the Saxon tales. So, following somebody other than Uhtred, I don't know how much the Grail plays in with Arthurian mythos here. Let's read the back here. A brutal raid on the quiet coastal English village of Hookton in 1342 leaves but one survivor, a young archer named Thomas. On this terrible dawn, his purpose becomes clear: to recover a stolen sacred relic and pursue to the ends of the earth the murderous black-clad knight bearing a blue and yellow standard. A journey that leads to the courageous rescue of a beautiful French woman and sets him on his ultimate quest, the search for the Holy Grail. At 59 cents, yeah, I'll take a gamble on it. And again, like, it's got a single kind of little bit of crack down the spine, but I would wager at most this has been read once. All right, so my other used book that I paid $2 for, and this one, again, like pristine condition, classic book, will go well with my Ray Bradbury, read every book by Ray Bradbury. This is S is for Space. So Jim from Books, Reading, and Stuff, let me know if you need to borrow the back of this book for your S video when it comes up, because it says S is for space, and for science fiction, spine-tingling, supernatural, and sublime. S is for stories from a star wilderness that stretches as far as the eye and mind can see and imagine. Creatures who walk from the grave, children who sabotage the earth, Martians and mushrooms, spaceships and super beings, and a spellbinding collection of 16 masterworks by the author of Long After Midnight, The Illustrated Man, The Martian Chronicles, and Dandelion Wine. S is for space. And last but not least, we wouldn't do if we didn't have something that we could directly blame Steve Donahue for. Because I believe he, just a couple days ago, got these very books and talked about them, or got one of the 2 volumes and talked about them, about how he had one of them already. I think he got 2, but they were kind of beat up. They were reading copies. I'd have to go back to his video and rewatch it, but I'm relatively certain that this is the set that he got. And these are the Bantam Classic Sherlock Holmes, Volume 1 and Volume 2. So these are the complete novels and stories. So these were brand new. I gladly paid for them because I've been wanting to regain complete Sherlock Holmes on my shelf. And now I have 2 very readable volumes, paperback editions, so they're nice and portable. And they'll tide me over really well for the time being. Eventually, that ideal bookshelf will have the 3-volume annotated edition or even the older 2-volume annotated edition of Sherlock Holmes. But for now, to have these 2 Bantam classics of Holmes, it's going to serve me well. So I'm very, very excited to have these. So that's my haul. That's what I've got. I'm excited to read all of them, hopefully some soon, some later, because we always have more to read than we can ever get through. That problem never ends. I feel like I did pretty good with the bookshop book haul. I'm definitely going to be back at Paige Turners in the future. It was a very good bookstore. I really enjoyed going there. I like that they have this nice little bag. It advertises as shopping local. They had all kinds of copies of that Midwest Indie Bookstore roadmap. If you need a copy of one, let me know. Shoot me a message. I leave my email in just about every video I make. I'll make sure it's down in this one. And I'll be happy to grab some copies and send them out as I'm able to. And then, Michael, Fit to Be Read. A bookmark is coming your way soon, along with maybe something as a little bonus in there. So thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and have a great day.